Alright, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another Baldur's Gate 3 mods video. This time we're taking a look at Dawnstar's elemental spells. This is another early access spell that is available on his Patreon. If you want to take a look at that and subscribe, it definitely does help out the mod author himself. And these spells, as I mentioned before with the other spell pack that I previewed, these will be released on the Nexus for free at some point. I can't give a release date. That's something you want to ask Dawnstar himself. He'll give you more accurate representation of when those might be released for free on Nexus. I am a supporter of his Patreon. I do like his work, and I've showcased a lot of his mods on the channel. So I feel like it's only fair for me personally to kind of give back to the mods that he's been making, because I do make videos and stuff like that. I do, make ad revenue from the videos that I do make of his work. So I think it's only fair for me to, subscribe to his Patreon to kind of showcase and support his work. As he's actually allowed me to post these videos. I've actually asked him directly, is it okay if I make these early access mod videos? And he said that was fine. So, again, thank you to Dawnstar for that. Anyway, what we're going to be taking a look at today is we're going to be taking a look at the elemental spell pack. This encases so far 5 cantrips, 5 level 1, and 5 level 2 spells, each covering the elements of fire, earth, air, lightning, and ice. I think it's pretty cool. I know we do have some other elemental spells, and there are elemental spells within like the vanilla version of the game. But I think what I like about this spell pack and what I've been experimenting with is that the potential to combine certain spells with other spells. And we'll kind of get into that when we do like the ability showcase and stuff like that. But I'm going to go over the spells here. As of now, there's 20 spells available. I'm sorry, 3, 6, 9, 12... math. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I'm sorry, there's 15 available spells so far. I can't read English or do math. So anyway, we're going to go over the fire ones, the wind, lightning, earth, and then ice. So starting off with fire, the first one you're going to get is the cantrip Smolder. This surrounds the target in smoldering heat. When it takes fire damage, the heat ignites, dealing 3 to 24 fire damage before dissipating. This lasts for 2 turns, and like I said before, it is a cantrip. The first level 1 spell that you get is called Incinerate. Project a beam of searing flame at the target. If the creature is smoldering, it will take half damage on a miss. So this is what I was talking about, how you can combine these abilities. So if the character's already smoldered, you hit them with Incinerate, they will still take half damage even if you miss. You can't upcast this up until level 7. I do have, level 6. I do have the expanded mod, so if you go up in levels, I believe you can also expand this up into like the level 7, stuff like that to do more damage. But anyway, you kind of saw a brief preview of the effects as well, which is why I love Dawnstar's work. The second spell that you get, level 2 fire spell, is called Pyrrhic Ward. Conjure a ring of fire that swirls around you, granting you resistance to cold damage. Nearby enemies take 2 to 12 fire damage per turn. Casting Downburst spreads the flames, dealing an additional 2 to 8 fire damage to enemies within 3 meters of the blast. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier, how you can combine spells with other spells. We already see this with the Smolder and the Incinerate, but now you can combine the fire with one of the wind elements, which is Thunder. So we'll take a look at that as well. I believe these are technically wind, but they do thunder damage because wind doesn't have like an elemental damage to it. But anyway, going on to the cantrip, Arrow of Wind. Gather the air around you and unleash it at a creature, weaving around obstacles. Targets must succeed a dexterity saving throw or become off balance until the start of your next turn. And then going on to level 1, we have Downburst, which is what we briefly talked about. Unleash a radial burst of wind that could possibly blast nearby creatures back 4 meters and knock them prone. We can combine this with Pyrrhic Ward, which we'll go ahead and showcase that when we get towards the ability showcase and the effects and everything. And then for level 2, for wind, we have Funnel Clouds. Conjure swirling winds up to 3 meters, reducing their movement speed to 0 and imposing disadvantage on dexterity saving throws and ranged attacks. Fire or cold damage causes the storm to react, dealing 3 to 8 damage to that particular type and ending the effect. Creatures may attempt a strength saving throw at the end of each turn to escape. So, essentially what this is that you cast down Funnel Clouds. It basically keeps it within that Funnel Cloud, but you can cast a different elemental type that do burst damage of that elemental fire or cold damage. It will disperse the spell, but you'll do damage to that enemy. So combined to the fact that you do damage from the spell itself, you do additional damage from bursting the Funnel Clouds. Going over to lightning, we have lightning strike, pretty basic. Strike a creature with a bolt of lightning. It remains charged, electrifying water whenever it contacts. So this lasts for 2 turns. Lightning strike, so pretty standard spell. And then we have level 1, which is conduction. Summon a lightning storm and become a conductor, absorbing the lightning and releasing electricity as 3 beams. Now this does 3 points of damage, 3 points of lightning damage, 2d4, for a total of 6 to 24 damage. I don't know what that sound was, I apologize. Lightning spray. Summoning a lightning storm and redirect the lightning through your hands, frying creatures in front of you. Now this would be upcasted. And again, just kind of showcase a little bit of the effects. This can be upcasted as well. Same thing with some of the other spells, such as Downburst and Funnel Clouds. Going over to Earth, we have Earth Shot. Tear a boulder from the Earth, splitting into 3 projectiles that slam into your target. We have Rupture, which is the level 1 spell. Shatter the ground and bludgeon creatures with erupting rocks and leaving behind a muddy surface that slows creatures through moving through it. Now, I don't know if this mud counts as like water. That I don't know. But for 2 turns, they will have reduced movement speed. And then for the level 2, we have Stone Pillars. Pull 3 pillars of stone from the ground, blocking line of sight and movement. This lasts for 10 turns. It is a concentration spell. So some of these are concentration spells like Funnel Cloud and Stone Pillars, so you can't really cast them both at the same time. And then finally going over to Ice, we have Flurry. Create a slick ice surface in a 2-meter radius. Creatures that move across the ice must succeed a dexterity saving throw or fall prone. We have Shatterfrost. Trap a creature in an unstable ice storm, preventing movement and making it vulnerable to cold damage. Cold damage detonates the storm, inflicting 1 to 6 piercing damage and implied chill for 2 turns to creatures within 3 meters of a failed dexterity saving throw. Creatures may attempt a strength saving throw at the end of each turn to escape. So very similar to Funnel Cloud. This is just kind of like a spell that you place and the enemies are trapped inside of it. They have to break through a dexterity saving throw to get out. But you can use like a cold spell to detonate the storm and do additional 1 to 6 piercing damage. I feel like that's a little low. You can't upcast this, of course. And it does increase like the piercing damage. So I think that's kind of like the trade-off of this is that at lower levels not going to be as useful. It does keep them trapped, which is nice. And like some creatures do have pretty poor dexterity modifiers. So I think that's where like some of the uses come from. But you can't upcast to get additional damage as well. And finally, for the last level 2 spell, Avalanche, call down a crushing mass of ice and snow in a 3-meter radius. Creatures that are prone and fail the Constitution saving throw take an additional 1 to 6 bludgeoning damage. This also can be upcasted as well. So, but yeah, we'll go ahead and showcase the abilities. We'll go ahead and summon our dummy creature here, which you can see the corpse of other ones here. And we'll take a look at some of the effects, as well as obviously the damage output and the effects and combination spells and things like that. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and showcase the abilities here. Like I said, I do love Dawnstar's work because a lot of his abilities also have like dedicated like special effects and animations. So we're going to start off with Smolder. As you can see, like I said, like I love how the effects look. Kind of hard to turn and show, unfortunately. But yeah, I think the animation looks nice. Very clean. Now we can see that he is affected by Smolder. Takes fire damage, makes this creature combust, take an additional 3 to 24 fire damage into the effects. Now, if we wanted to, let the turns go by, he'll take damage over time. However, if we wanted to use something like Incinerate, which if we take a look at the flavor text here, if the creature is smoldering, which it is, it will take half damage on miss. So even if we do end up missing, we'll still do additional damage. Now we can go ahead and upcast this to do more damage if we like. But as you see, the smolder effect did go off. We didn't miss, but we still did pretty decent damage. But as you can see from the effects itself, again, that just looks really nice. Like, I genuinely like how the effects look for the characters, the animations, the special effects. I think that looks really clean. And you can't upcast this like I mentioned earlier. Now, we did end up missing, which is unfortunate. Not worry about heat convergence. That's I think that's vanilla. But anyway, going over to our final spell, which is Pyrrhic Ward. Now, again, take a look at the effects. I like the way that looks. Again, it's very clean, it's very satisfying. Definitely tell he puts in a lot of work on his mods. We can go ahead and cast that. And now we have the Psychic Ward, which gives us protection and also gives us cold resistance. So, if we just move a little bit closer, which we can here.
What path lies before me?
They take damage as they get close to us. Which is fine. We were just moving out of the way. So, that being said, we can combine this with Outburst. So if we do that, we saw that the flames actually did go out, but they didn't do enough damage, so we'll go ahead and get a little bit closer. We'll do Downburst. As we saw, we took both the fire damage and the damage from the spell itself. So, that's what I was saying, like, we can combine special abilities, or not special abilities, we can combine spells together with some of the elements, which I think is what's going to really make this spell pack shine once it's fully released. But going on from that, we'll go ahead and end the turn so our partner here can stand back up, so give me 1 second. Alright, so moving on to Arrow of Wind. Again, pretty simple effect, but looks really, really cool. Like I said, I really do enjoy his work and the way that spells look. So we knocked him off balance, which is one of the debuffs that we have. The affected entity has disadvantage on strength and dexterity checks, and attack rolls have against it. Or attack rolls against it have advantage. Cool. So next up, we already shown Downburst, which again is just kind of like a simple blast around us. And we kind of showcased the damage it can do earlier by knocking down our target here. So, but we'll do it again. We can upcast. Move a little bit closer. Which will knock him prone. And finally, we have Funnel Clouds, which this spell's gonna actually be pretty interesting. So we'll go ahead and cast Funnel Cloud. Now, we can cast this on targets if we like, but we only have one target. So that target is affected by Funnel Cloud. So again, we're gonna end our turn, and we're gonna see that it take effect, and then we're gonna go through the second part of it, which is allows us to combine it with either fire or cold damage, so we can see the effect of that as well.
No choice but to keep going.
Yes.
What now? Another fight. Let's
So,
go.
as you can see, they're still affected by Funnel Cloud. They did take a little bit of damage. So, as we saw through the flavor text, we can do either fire or cold damage against the storm, and it does that type of elemental damage. So, for this, we're going to go ahead and use Smolder. And as you can see, the effect of the Funnel Cloud disappeared, but we got that fire damage. So, if you want to do that again. And now we can do cold damage, so we'll go ahead and do Flurry. Which will leave him trapped, and so let's go ahead and do Avalanche. As we saw there, the Funnel Cloud disappeared when we did Avalanche and did cold damage. So, that spell's pretty useful for combining spells. Now, you can also use this with cantrips as well. So, for example, I do have the cantrip. Where is it? I believe I had the cantrip. Maybe I don't. Could have sworn I had like one of the basic cantrips. Maybe I don't. Anyway, you can use this with other cantrips such as Firebolt and things like that to actually ignite those abilities as well. So you don't have to use the spells from the spell pack. But anyway, moving on, we have Lightning Strike. Which again, love the effects on that. We'll do that again since the camera was in the way. And so we have the effect Lightning Strike. Charged with electricity will electrify water when in contact. So let's say we wanted to melt this ice. Now, he's going to do additional damage as he is stuck in water. So, moving on from that, we have Conduction. Summoning Lightning Storm to become the conductor, absorbing the lightning, and release it electricity within 3 beams. So, pretty good damage overall. Again, we can upcast this if we like. Just to take a look at the effects. Again, looks really, really cool. You can really feel like the power going through your character. And finally, we have Lightning Spray. Summoning Lightning Storm and redirect the lightning through your hands, frying creatures in front of you. Now, this is more of a short-ranged attack, so you do have to get a little bit closer. So think of it like Fire Spray. Essentially, it's the same thing, but just for lightning. You can also upcast this. And it's pretty good, decent damage overall. So then moving on to Earth, we have Earth Shot. Go ahead and back up a little bit. Now this does cast 3 boulders here, so what we'll do is we'll do this so you can kind of see them spread out. So again, simple yet effective. Does pretty good, decent damage. 9 to 36 bludgeoning damage is actually pretty good for a cantrip. And then we have Rupture. Shatter the ground, bludgeoning creatures with erupting rocks and leaving behind a muddy surface. Those creatures within it. So we can upscale that if we want, but we'll just do like the basic spell first. And again, just to reiterate the look of the effect there. I think that's really cool. And I don't think it's too intrusive either. I think that's what I like about the overall effects. And that just looks really cool how it like surrounds the target as well. We'll upscale it this time. Really, really cool. And then finally we have Stone Pillars. Now this is kind of like Stone Wall. Not as effective, I would say. I think it's cool in terms of like the looks, but I don't really see this being beneficial. So you can't upcast to have more stones if you like. So what I'll do is I'll break the concentration here. So it's a little bit more of like a more accurate like stone wall if you like. I can see this being useful for like blocking out maybe certain sections or like multiple enemies. But in terms of overall damage, you don't really get that damage effect. So, but overall, it does look cool. The textures look really nice, and it can be effective. Absolutely. So then going off of that, we already showcased Flurry, which is basically just create like a slake of ice. Nothing too crazy. Just go ahead and take a look at the visual effects and animation for that. Again, looks pretty cool. Can't complain. And then next we have Shatter Frost, which basically traps an enemy into the encased ice storm. So now you can see he's stuck in the ice. It has the effect of Shatter Frost. Can I move is invulnerable to cold damage? Cold damage detonates the storm, inflicting 1 to 6 piercing damage, implying shield for 2 turns. And so just to give you a look at what shield is. Shield is vulnerable to cold damage and resistant to fire damage. So doesn't take as much damage from fire, but takes more damage from cold damage. So then we can follow up with that. We already kind of showcased Avalanche, but we'll do it again. We'll upscale it this time. And see, we did additional piercing damage because we had the Shadow Frost element level 1. So, but we can also upscale that as well if we wish. We are out of action points, so I'll go ahead and end the turn and kind of show that here. So give me 1 second. All right, so our target did move. It really didn't do much to that, but just to kind of reiterate. So if we use Shadow Frost at level 6. And then we use the ice spell, so we can use Avalanche here again. We'll raise that up. as you can see, they took 22 piercing damage with the additional, I would believe it's like 50 points of cold damage. So, you can do a lot of things with these abilities. You can combine them, and I think it's kind of like one of the benefits of this spell pack is that it lets you play around and combine spells to do additional damage and debilitating effects. So, as always, I'll have a link in the description down below for the mod itself if you want to check out. Like I said, this is an early access as of now, so you do have to be a supporter of Dawnstar to get it for early access. But it will be released on Nexus for free as well. I'm just keeping you guys updated on it. Let me know what you guys think, and if there's any other spells or classes that you want me to take a look at, please leave them down in the description. Leave them in the comments down below, and I will check them out as soon as possible. Thank you all. I appreciate the support on the videos, and I will catch you next time. Take care.